Talk is by Anu Radha Krishnan. Anu Radha Krishnan currently works as a senior program officer at ATREE, Ashoka Trust for Research in Ecology and the Environment. Anu does research in fish taxonomy and integrated taxonomy. Their most recent publication is Conserving the Less Charismatic, Making Conservation Inclusive for Insect Diversity. Over to you, Anu. I guess you're going to talk about your Vembanad experience in your Vembanad work. Look forward to your talk.
Hi, my name is Anu Radha Krishnan. I'm a Senior Program Officer with ATREE. I'm representing Dr. Priyadarsanan, Dharma, and Senior Fellow ATREE. And I'll be talking about Vembanad Fish Count, which is a democratic conservation fish monitoring program in the system, which is also a citizen science initiative, which has led to a deliberated democratic approach in this in the system. So I'll first give a short idea about citizen science. So citizen science in the phrase itself has a dichotomy of like separating citizen and science, where the science part or the scientist is kept at a higher hierarchical position. But like citizen science literally means the aid of citizens in conducting research. But like, can we actually keep them in a prime position and like conduct conservation directly through them? That's something that we'll discuss over here. So I'll be talking about Vembanad Estuary. So Vembanad Estuary is the longest estuary in the system. It has almost, including its cold wetlands, it has almost 2,033 kilometers square of area, and like the waterscape covers almost 50 square kilometers. And like coming to the ecology, it has almost 6 rivers draining into the system. Almost 150 plus species of fishes are found in the system. It's also breeding ground and foraging ground for lots of fishes. It's a good carbon sink, and lots of migratory birds take the system as their refuge. And there are, the system is also connected to the Arabian Sea through two major outlets. So coming to livelihoods, there are almost 1.5 to 2 million people that's directly or indirectly dependent on the system through agriculture, tourism, fishing, clam processing, grass cutters, duck rearing, boat rearing, and sand mining and stuff. And when you come to the problems of Vembanad, Kanivakum Bund or the saltwater barrage, almost in the middle of the system, is the major problem, which was commissioned in almost 1976. Which was to avoid saltwater intrusion into the system to conduct agriculture in the south of the system. But it has eventually affected the fisheries and the hydrology of the system. Then there is pollution, then there is eutrophication, because there is lots of nutrient load coming into the system because of the agricultural runoffs, as well as the rivers draining into the system. And there is over extraction of fishery resources, because like there are lots of people directly dependent on fisheries in the system. Then comes uncontrolled tourism, obviously one of the major livelihood in the system. So since it is a major source of income, it does have to go overboard at times. Then there is decline of mangrove as illegal encroachment. Water scarcity, because lots of people are staying in this area. And when we started with the program, we thought of different conceptual frameworks, and finally ended up with a socio-ecological system framework, because like here there are defined actors and resource systems. Actors and resource system, which gets affected by exogenous factors separately for actors as well as the resource systems, and the harmony of all these would provide a better backbone for conservation activities in the system. So this was the primary question that we had: where to find sustainability, whose interests are to be protected. So the first reason what we did was gaining trust of them, like reviving their tradition. So there was this Kyle Puja where where the people, it's not a religious thing at all. So like since the agriculture and the fisheries is like goes hand in hand in the system. So like when the agriculture has the yield, they take the first yield of their agricultural produce and like work across in the lake, spreading around the produce, expecting a better. So it's like they say they are fertilizing, the system. That's their belief. So we started off with like reviving a tradition which brought us a lot of trust from them. Then we started a participatory fish monitoring program of Vembanad Fish Count. So why participatory program? Because like it brings together different groups and like there happens to be a collaboration that gets started by bringing these people, because like there is lots of knowledge transfer that's happening between them. This will lead to better policy developments, which has multifacets, and eventually there is a social capital that's getting built up. So that's how Vembanad Fish Count is. So like Vembanad Fish Count, it's basically, it's a fish monitoring program, but it has been executed for the knowledge transfer and the collaboration, for the collaboration between people. And yeah, the objectives were to make an inventory, but more than that, it was also for the awareness building within communities and like how to get through the problem which they are facing, and like the methodology. It happens in the month of May, and like it has almost 32 locations, and all the stakeholders come together, and we use a 3-day program where like the first day is a capacity building, then we have experimental fishing on the next 2 days, and there is compiling of the data. So we use gill nets, cast nets, and scoop nets because like there are different depths in the system, and there are different habitats in the system. So all these three are well enough for sampling in an even manner. So this is the map where we do, and like this is just an analysis of like how many or what's the diversity that we have seen like, in a couple of years. And this is just a representation of the families in the system, so you can see how diverse the system already is. So by doing that, so what? That's what like I'll be dealing with. So we happen to make up lake protection forums, or like lake protection forums are grassroots level democratic institutions, which is totally made by fisher folks to conserve the lake, and it is registered under the Society Federation in 1955. And like the primary aim was to sustain livelihood of the, obviously that's the thing what they already want, but also to conserve the ecology of the lake. So what all they have done for that. So like this is another federation, because like when the Lake Protection Forum was a success, like they also federated it with the panchayat, and these are so many lake. So once they got together, they had informations about the system, and they came up with Matsyathaavalam, or the mini fish sanctuary, which is basically a fish aggregating device. Which they have been laying across in the system. So it does have 2 rings of bamboos, and like then there is a particular then there is the area in between where all these twigs and things are left, so that like the fishes can aggregate and like take it as a refuge, but at the same time take it as a refuge, but at the same time that it is also been classified as no fishing zone, so that this is basically a total refuge for the system. And like the next thing what they have done is jaladarpanam. So like in the fish monitoring program, we understood that there is something called water quality monitoring and all those things, and like you can get to know the quality of the system through these things, and they finally have taken it up, and like they have been running their own water quality monitoring system, which they like once they have the data, they'll conduct the experts and get an analysis of what's actually happening in the system. So this is also being done. Then they have taken up plastic cleaning campaigns, mangrove planting campaigns. They have also promoting ethical fishing. They're celebrating programs. And finally, I mean, this was the biggest conflict in the system, that is the fishers and the farmers are having such a conflict. They have formed fisher farmer forums. Then they made a people's map of Vembanad, where they do is they have got together and the resource mapping was done. Resource mapping in the sense the people know what all resources are available everywhere, and they got together and they created their own maps. With the help of this map, they and with the help of other people who are experts in the system, they developed this clam relaying program, because the clam, because the bund is up there, the clam needs salinity for its spawning, but at the same time it can survive in the fresh water. So there is overproduction on the north and there is underproduction on the south. So they collect clam from the northern side and they relay it on the southern side. But when relaying, they also should be knowing what exactly or where exactly it should be done. And for that, the people's resource map was used. So it was a collaborative effort of the CRC, fishery department, CMFRI, corporates, LPFs, and that's how clam sustainability is being done. So this is how this is what exactly it looks like of the possible areas after the analysis has been done. So this is the Bioblitz program, which is done in the schools of Vembanad, where students bunch up and understand the biodiversity around their schools and document it as a local biodiversity register, where the citizens are taking up initiatives and finally coming up with productive, tangible outcomes which can aid in better conservation activities. So this is what it's being conducted in Vembanad. So it's basically a program where the citizens are not just mere data collectors for the scientists. Instead, they are being capacitated in such a way that they can carry out activities for a better conservation of the system. So thank you, everyone.
Hi, Anu.
Hi.
Yeah, thank you for that talk.
Yeah.
We have a few questions. Are you able to hear us? The audio is fine?
Yeah, I mean, like my bandwidth has some issues, I guess. Otherwise, it's fine. Maybe there's going to be a lag, but it's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. We can deal with
Yeah.
the lag. So you have a question from Paul Paul. In one of your slides, it's mentioned that Vembanad is a blue carbon sink, but it's also a significant contributor of methane. So do you have any idea about the net emissions or sinking?
Okay, so I don't have much idea as of now, like how much is the emissions that is being happened, because like there are pretty less works on that, but I can give a comment on that. That is like, yes, the estuary as such it can be considered as a blue carbon sink, because like it is a coastal wetland. It's primarily a coastal wetland, and there are lots of sulfates in the system, and there are lots of sulfur reducing bacteria as well in the system. So like there is going to be a competition between the sulfur reducing bacteria and the methanogenic bacteria, and like obviously, since the seawater is gushing in most of the time, there is going to be like a higher hand for the sulfur reducing bacteria, and that's one of the major reasons why it can be considered as a blue carbon sink as well. But the problem is, like, there is a saltwater barrage almost in the middle of the system, and like almost the southern part of the system has been converted into a freshwater kind of a system. So there is going to be, like, the sulfate gushing is going to reduce a lot. And like I mean, on the contrary, obviously there is going to be lots of methanogenic bacteria as well, which is going to start working on the system, because like there are lots of biomatters that's available as part of the wetlands across the system. So like it's most of the anthropogenic activities that has resulted in this kind of a reversal, because like it's kind of, I mean, like most of the inland wetlands are kind of a double-headed sword. I mean, like if you can kind of conserve it in a more without taking off its primary effects and stuff, probably it can act as such. But here, since there is a conflict between like the agricultural part and the fisheries part, there is a bund which is still, I mean, like even though we have been able to makes much effects on on the opening and closure of the bunds and stuff, still it is having lots of political issues and stuff which we are still trying to face. So exactly, I don't know what's
Okay.
the exact balance between the emissions and the sequestration that's happening in the system, but this is something that we are working on as well, so that maybe in future we can.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We're still waiting for more questions to come in, but in the meantime, maybe Prabhakar and I can ask you some questions.
Sure.
Prabhakar can go ahead.
Yeah. So how effective was this school Bioblitzes that you did, or you're continuing to do it? And what is the plan about involving school children?
Yeah, so the first program was Vembanad Bioblitz, and that was a pilot program. And like obviously, we have been, and the whole program was contributing towards IPP as well as observations, and it was quite good. I mean, like it was just 10 schools that we had selected, and like it was just a 6 months program, and we still got like almost 3,000 to 4,000 observations around the system. There were lots of unique observations which we never expected from a heavily used wetland. And as a continuation, we have just started, like almost a month ago, we have just started another Kerala Bioblitz program, and that is involving mostly college students, though. School students are very less, but like we are getting entries from school students as well lately. And so in this program, what we are trying to, I mean, in the previous pilot program, what we were trying to say is to create a biodiversity register for the schools. But like as of now, we are trying to build up a backyard biodiversity register, which is like there is already something known as a people's biodiversity register by the panchayats. But like we are trying to like revive it with the help of students, and like there is a to and fro benefits, which means the schools can make their own backyard biodiversity register, or like a local biodiversity register. At the same time, probably we can contribute a lot towards the people's biodiversity register, which is being managed by the government as well. So that's kind of the plan is.
Okay, so we have quite a few questions coming in. Rajat asks, are the hotels, resorts, and houseboat associations supportive of your efforts? Do they participate in your citizen science initiatives?
Yes, to a limit, yes, we have very good, like contributions from them. And like one of the major thing what I can say is in the Vembanad Bioblitz, sorry, in the Vembanad Fish Count program, like I said, it's a 3-day program, and like the first day, it's totally open to anyone actually. And like we usually get almost 120 plus volunteers, and like the volunteers we have been comparing for the last 10 years like how the volunteers have turned up, and like we could see that like there is lots from all stakeholders around the system, because like the people are really interested in knowing what exactly does the system exactly has to offer. At the same time, what has been studied about the system, what they have to contribute. I mean, like I do have quite a bit of experiences when scientists as well who were like participating in the system, I mean in the program, was quite stunned by certain like traditional ecological knowledges that the fisher folks had to offer. And there were, I mean, in the vice versa, like the fisher folks are also pretty excited to know like there are so many things that has been unknown to them, even though they were like directly dependent on the system. So yes.
Okay. So Atira has a question for you, Atira Perencheri. She says, nice talk, and you have a lot of compliments. In the interest of time, I'm not reading them out. So Atira says, you mentioned several projects that commenced after the Vembanad Fish Count began, such as Jaladarpanam, where fishers monitor water quality. So how many of these were initiated by the community or villagers per se? Did they do it because they actively felt the need for such data?
Yes, exactly. So, Vembanad Fish Count was the kind of a Kickstarter for all these, because like people came together. There were like scientists and other stakeholders all together. There were knowledge transfer that was happening. The people started understanding the importance of salinity and like the basic factors in water quality in a system, and like they were also understanding that like due to the closure of the bund, there is lots of distraction that is happening to the salt intrusion into the system. And that's why the fishery stock was also dwindling like drastically. It was not just the fin fishery; it was also the scampi fishery which was going down, because like scampi fishery has a very higher stake in Vembanad, and this had led them to ask about like how to monitor these things. And like that's when we provided trainings and stuff onto how they can do it, and so that the data what they bring up will be analyzed with the help of experts, and like it'll be shared with them. And like there had also been there had also been a procession kind of thing which happened as a revolt against the system, because like the bund is supposed to be closed for 5 months a year, and like the rest is 7 months it should be actually kept open. But the problem is that they don't do it properly. And once when they were conducting this routine salinity test and stuff, they understood that the salinity should not be falling like beyond 5 ppt and stuff, because like it's like very near the sea, and like 5 ppt itself is like pretty alarming in certain cases when it comes to farther south and all. So they had the data, which was certified by the experts. They took the data, went to the collectorate, and like they were conducting a revolt, which led to the committee to rethink their decision to on the calendars of opening and closure of the system. Because like the thing is, like when the agriculture folks when the crop and things are a bit like wobbly and stuff, they might tend to like push it ahead, that like okay, we can open it maybe a month later or something like that. But now since like they are also aware that these kinds of things should be monitored and stuff, there is more of a stake for people in like competing for that. And like it's still in a very haphazard situation, but still they have started acting. That's what we can say. I mean, like with the data they have collected, they have acted as well.
Okay. You have another question about conflicts, but I think you explained that in great detail. So I'd like to request you to take a look at the Slack feed with your questions and maybe take some time to answer some of these. The conference will be on Slack for the next 10 days. So even if you don't have good internet today, maybe in the following days, it might be possible for you to do this.
Yeah? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much for taking all this time and for explaining your work in such great detail. Over to you, Prabhakar.
Thank you very much, Anu, and thank you very much all the participants, all the presenters for this particular session. Let's grab a quick lunch and then back again at 2 o'clock for a very exciting panel discussion, the scope and opportunities of citizen science. And here we'll have people who actually do research with using citizen science data, and people who manage organizations and action with citizen science data. That starts at 2 o'clock and it will be moderated by Pankaj Saksaria. So please look ahead, and 2 o'clock, let's meet again. Thank you very much, all you guys. Bye.